You first saw him on BET. You heard him love talking on WPGC. He's inspired the hearts of many on Dajour Live. And now, he's back on CBS Big Talk Radio. It's Conversations with Prince Dajour. And now, here's your host, Derek Prince Dajour.
When a woman loves.
My. James Brown, let that thing play for just a minute or two, man. I'm marinating over here. Welcome to the show. Conversations with Prince Dajour. When a woman loves, she absolutely loves for real.
Yeah.
Wow, that is some good stuff right there. I want to thank R. Kelly for that song. My man made it come back. I don't care what they say about him. Of course, it's not my job to judge him, but he's an awesome songwriter. This is like the national anthem for lovers. Last week, we celebrated Love's Holiday. R. Kelly is bringing us back into that love mode. And I'm going to make this the official love anthem for my show.
Right.
Now, James Brown told you this is a man's world. But then he came back and said it wouldn't be nothing without a woman. Good gracious. So R. Kelly came back and brought this thing back years later, Tina.
Right.
And R. Kelly came back and he said, wow, when a woman loves, she loves for real. All right, well, welcome to the show. Conversation with Prince Dajour. And, of course, that would be me. I'm your host, Prince Dajour. Want to give a shout-out to all the listeners out there. If you're listening by way of the web all across the world, happy day to you, all right? If you're listening by way of the radio, hello to you once again. We had a great response last week. Last week's show, we did a Valentine's show from here to a place called Love, and the show was absolutely awesome. It was really awesome. We got a great response from a lot of people on Facebook. I mean, Chicago, LA. We got some hits from Bahamas, believe it or not. We do a lot of workshops in the Bahamas, and women from all across the country are reaching out to us, and we're just really excited about what's going on, and we're really excited about what's happening here on radio. And of course, I'm not just here alone. We have my publicist and production coordinator, Miss Tina Marie. Hey, Tina.
Hey, everybody.
All right, Tina's over there. Little allergies, but it's all good, right? That's okay. See, when a woman talks, she talks for real, right? Tina said you're going to talk. And, of course, we have James Brown, our engineer. He's in the house, and we're having a great time. And we also have a special guest hanging out with us, Chaslyn, and she's one of our production assistants today. Enough respect to Chancellor. She's definitely in the house. All right, so give it up for her. And, of course, if you want to give us a call, you can do that at 301-794-5150. That's 301-794-5150. Want to encourage you to join the show. You can definitely call in at any point. James Brown, this is what I want to do right here. We're gonna switch the music up and do something real mellow, because that R. Kelly kind of brought me into a different vibe right now. I want to break this thing down. Last week, we talked about Love's Holiday. And I wanted to kind of ride out with this music, but I think I want to do it old school. You know, the old school radio DJs used to just pull songs out of the crate, you know, and just put the songs on. And if you had your favorite love song, you just put something on real nice. So give me a little bit more of that. So I'm feeling it right now. It's Love's Holiday once again. I told you Love's Holiday is not just for Valentine's Day, but we believe that Love's Holiday is every time we open the mic on the radio. This is relationship radio, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, before we get started with our topic today, which is when a woman loves, she loves for real, we want to say congratulations. We had some giveaways. Sometimes we like to do something special for our listeners. We may have, some certificates to go to a day spa, get your hair cut, get your hair did, and your nails done, all that good stuff, right? And we like to give away prizes. We had some tickets to give away for Disney on Ice at the Verizon Center. And I was able to be a blessing this week to about 3 families. So it makes me feel really good to do that, to be a blessing. I want to congratulate Terry Graham. She's a hairstylist over at Studio 14 in Northwest Washington, D.C.
All right,
she's going to take her little girl, her kids, to the Disney on Ice. So God bless you. Also, we have Loretta Eubanks from Landover, Maryland. She's taking her family, her little baby. She just had a baby, I think, about a year ago. They're going to see it. And we also have Felicia Jordan from Fort Washington, Maryland. She's going to take her kids. So congratulations to all the families. They're going to hang out at the Verizon Center, Disney on Ice. Okay, so our topic is when a woman loves. Now, I want to tap something right now and just help the brothers to understand this, that when a woman loves, she loves for real. And a lot of brothers have been trying to figure out, well, how do you know when a woman loves? How does she really love? My lady, we're going through different problems. We're going through different situations, but we need to really understand that how does a woman love? She loves for real. That is really exactly what's going on. Now, Tina, of course, in our business meetings every week when we're preparing for the show and, our workshops and seminars around the area and around the country, Tina and I always talk about different things. And, of course, she's a woman, so we're getting a woman's perspective on this thing. And we talk about women, and this is what I think about. Let's really get into this conversation here. I mean, many women feel like, well, I'm a good woman. I can cook, I can clean. I take care of my man. And of course, the men feel the same thing. I'm a good man or whatever. And the women say, well, men don't understand. I'm a woman and I love for real. Like pretty much what R. Kelly said. I love for real. But the question is, what exactly does that mean? I mean, how do you love for real? Because in a woman's mind, she's loving for real, okay? But in a man's mind, he's thinking, well, I know you think that you love me for real according to your standards. But in my book and in my mind, that's not really loving me for real. It makes me think about for a man, I think that for a woman, most women feel love through affection and, attention and all that kind of stuff. Tina, of course, you're a woman, you can help me out. But I know most men feel love through affirmation. Yes. Most men feel love by support. You want to know that your lady supports you on all levels, okay? Always, in all ways. You want to know that your lady is there beside you. She supports you, with your family, with your friends, with your children, with your dreams, your ideas. If you have a business idea, she's the kind of woman just really support you just to survive. Sometimes it's merely surviving we need support in. And so, Tina, you tell me, a woman feels like she's loving the man and she's giving her all, but just because she's a good woman and loving him the way that she thinks is a good way, it doesn't mean that he receives love in that same kind of way. What do you think about women? What do you think about that?
Yeah, as a woman, I think when we think about loving a man for real, we're probably thinking about sacrificial love. Wow. I'm sure a lot of you ladies out there can relate to that. That kind of sacrificial love.
So what is sacrificial love?
It's where you sacrifice and you show up for your man no matter what. It's that selfless kind of love, that unconditional love.
Break that down one more level for me. When you say show up for your man, what do you mean? Show up like what? How does it mean?
Okay. As you know, sometimes it's easy to love a man when everything is going good, but it's not as easy. But it's not as easy when things are difficult. I'm sure a lot of you ladies can relate to that. When that man has lost his job or he's going through a crisis and you're there showing up for him no matter what.
Wow.
That's what real love is.
And so we talked about before in our meeting how women tend to deal with love from an emotional standpoint. Most men deal with love from an analytical perspective. Things have to make sense for a man. You can say, well, honey, I want to go and buy a new fence for the backyard. He's thinking, well, how much does it cost? The first thing that comes to his mind is the price. She's thinking about, well, I want to protect the children so they won't run into the street or the dog, but she's thinking emotional about feelings. He's thinking about the analytical perspective. And so many people in relationships break up on a regular basis because of that very thing. It seems very minute to a certain degree, but we also understand that it's not minute at all because I believe, and I'm an advocate for this, and I talked about this on last week's show, that you have to love your mate according to how they need to be loved, not how you just want to love them.
That's right.
Last week we talked about loving your mate like a manual in a car. You can't love them like a Mercedes when they're a Toyota. That's right. You have to love them according to their make and their model and their brand and how they're designed and everything. And so when a woman loves, she loves for real. A lot of men, we talked about, a lot of brothers are afraid, What stops the man from receiving the love of a woman when she's loving for real? Because obviously something is going wrong in relationships all across the country. We read statistics and magazines. Everybody's divorcing, breaking up. A lot of people are leaving, traditional contemporary relationships and going to alternative relationships. What's going on in that area? What do you think about that, Tina?
Well, I think one mistake we make as women sometimes is that we come off a little strong, a little too strong, too fast. And what happens is that men back up from us a little bit. They're afraid.
So let's talk about that. It's funny you say that because a lot of women say, well, men always say, I'm too strong, and I'm too strong. And a lot of men are intimidated by that. But years ago, we said we wanted a woman that was smart, finished school, and maybe had some kind of ambition. But now a lot of men feel threatened by that. I mean, how do you divide that line, find that fine line between being, intelligent and being educated and being assertive versus being, trying to take over the man's role in a relationship?
Yeah, I think as a woman, you really have to find that balance, because you can be a strong woman, but you also have to know when to step back.
Well, how do you find the balance, though? See, it's easy to say, even right now you're saying it, but it's like, what does that mean? How do you find the balance?
I know. I think it's about knowing your man, being in tune and in step with your man, and knowing, discovering his likes and his dislikes, what turns him on, what turns him off. And just being in tune with that.
Right. And we're talking about commitment and we're talking about relationships. But what stops a man from gravitating to commitment? It seems like a lot of women say, well, my man just won't commit to me. I'm loving him for real, like R. Kelly said in his lyrics, but he won't really gravitate to me. He's running from me. What would make a man? To me, it seems like it would be, a rocket scientist, you don't have to be one to understand is that if you're loved the right way in the right time, man, I would run to love, not run from love. But what makes us run from it?
That's right. Well, you may be thinking that you're loving your man the way he's supposed to be loved, but you may not be. You may not actually be doing that.
Yeah, that's what we're just saying, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And just flipping that, just like thinking from a man's perspective. in terms of a woman. Like, if you know that your lady loves a hot, warm bath after she gets off from work, then fill up that hot tub. If you know that she likes taking long
sounds good
walks
on the
in the
radio.
park, then go take that long walk in the park with her.
So basically going beyond yourself to extend yourself to love and to
That's
share. Like, I
right.
mean, and it doesn't mean that the woman has always served the man like she's a slave or something. I mean, but the man can also serve his lady. It's about having a lover's servant's heart. That's what I would call it. Where you say, sweetheart, what can I do for you today, baby? Can I cook you some dinner? Want me to wash the clothes? Want me to take the kids to to daycare or whatever? That's what we have to get into. And I'm gonna look at some of the lyrics for R. Kelly. Tina printed this out for me. Just the lyrics to when a woman loves a man. I mean, when a woman loves, she loves for real. In his lyrics, he says, she took me back after I broke her heart 1,000 times. I think all the fellas can relate to that. And Tina, why is it seems that for all the brothers, a lady can forgive us 1,000 times and more, but for a brother, if you mess up one time, he's like, I'm finished with you.
That's right.
I'm not going to give you 999 more times. So again, what's the difference in how the woman loves versus the man? Because she will give you grace. 1,000 times you cheated on her, you had babies outside the marriage. I hope I'm not stepping on nobody's toes out there. I feel like I am, but it's real.
That's
and a
right,
brother
it
will come
is.
back home. She will receive you and your baby from the outside back, and she'll receive you back. We lost finances in the family. So what's the difference there?
And that's part of that woman having understanding. We have we love our men so much that we want to be understanding. We're patient. We are forgiving. And I know for a lot of you brothers out there, you have that double standard, so to speak.
What's the double standard? What is that?
Where like you said, as women, we're very forgiving. We'll forgive you 3, 4, and 5 times. With you brothers over there, if a woman messes up or makes one misstep, then you guys want to toss it to the curb.
Well, then R. Kelly goes on to say, after I broke her heart 1,000 times, he said, she gave her life to me with no regrets. She followed me. If a woman loves you and she's loving you for real, a woman will risk her college education and give up everything to raise your baby, to move to a new city with you. So why is it that would brothers do that for a woman, you think? Or is it just really just the women who normally do that for men? I'll follow my boo, wherever my baby is.
That's right.
Women will be willing to follow love.
That's right.
Wow.
Women are willing to just uproot themselves and move to another state if they need to do that. They do whatever it takes. They'll follow their man to the ends of the earth if they need to do that.
I wonder what R. Kelly was thinking when he wrote these lyrics. As I looked at this thing, he says, with no regrets, she followed me and she raised me. He said, I'm forever indebted.
Wow.
And when I heard the part of the lyric, when he says she raised me, it makes me think about how a lot of men, and I'm not trying to put the brothers down, but unfortunately, we weren't always as groomed as women in relationships. We've been taught to be boyfriends and not really husbands, unfortunately. That's another workshop that we can do. But men are raised to be boyfriends and not husbands, and it's killing us right now. It's killing the family, especially in the African American community. It's really killing us. And so he says, I'm forever indebted, and she raised me. And so I hear a lot of women say, girl, my man, he's acting just like a child. We already have 4 children together, and I have to raise him like he's my 5th child. Not that men are literally, dumbfounded or don't really understand, but a lot of men are used to gravitating. Does that have anything to do with how they were raised with their mothers, or maybe the lack thereof, that men are looking for mothers in their wives or in their mates, you think?
That's right. I think so, absolutely. I think you're making a good point.
Yeah.
That a lot of men are looking for mothers in their mates. They're not looking for partners to really share their lives with.
Wow.
So a lot of women have to end up raising that man up and bringing him up. So absolutely.
And then R. Kelly messed me up with this line, James Brown. He go on to say, I'm forever indebted. I'm forever indebted. That line right there, he messed me up. But I understand what he's saying, because a lot of people in marriages feel indebted. But here's the mistake you're making, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, right here on Relationship Radio with Prince Dajour. You can be forever indebted and feel a need to want to, show the person some love for their forgiveness. I cheated on you 1,000 times, sweetheart. I'm forever. Let me take you out to dinner, sweetie. Let me buy you some roses. But sometimes there are a lot of families, or parents, especially the ones from the old school who've been married for 30 and 40 years.
Yes.
They didn't marry for love. They just married because they stayed together, because that's what traditionally families do.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what they did. But you're forever indebted. And it makes me think about a lot of people are living in relationships forever indebted, but they're unhappy. And they feel like, okay, I got to stay with her because I cheated and she forgave me 1,000 times, so I'll go ahead and marry her anyway. When really the man probably didn't want to get married, but she kind of, nags him enough to get married. Or now the woman feels forever indebted because she was broke when he found her. And now he gave her some money to get into her first house, buy her first car. She feel like, I don't really love him. Makes me think about that movie I saw the other night with Chris Rock. It's called I Think I Love My Wife. And that was a good movie, good comedy, right, James? And my man was saying, I feel indebted. His friend told him, well, you don't love her. There's no excitement in your marriage. He said, but she's a good mother. is that a reason to be married because they're just a good mother? Shouldn't you have a friendship? As we said last week,